Hi, welcome back to Genesis Custom Sabers, and this is just a quick rundown of the latest limited run of my Darth Bane curved saber design. As you can see, I want to show you a couple of things about how the saber operates. So this video is going to serve as the instructions for the new owners, and it's also going to show off some of the features that are same as previous Bane runs, but also some features that are brand new for this limited run. I have my copy here of the Sanjuro stand, which is it's a really excellent stand. I might take some better pictures of it later. When your stand arrives, it'll be in pieces, and you can quickly assemble it, and it can hold the saber without being glued. But if you ever do move it, a piece can fall off and smack on the ground and crack. So you might want to use just a light-duty glue on that. Do not use a super glue or something that's going to frost or discolor the acrylic. You want to use something that is clear and that doesn't affect the acrylic in that way. Like a super glue leaves that frosty looking residue on it. You don't want that. In my case, I don't have my stand glued. I just have to be really careful while moving it. This is the slightly weathered version. You might be able to see there's some basic weathering in the cracks and grooves there, and some aging on the brass. The brass on this is clean and will be actually coated to keep the brass looking polished and new on the pieces that get touched, because as you may be aware, finger oils and things like that can discolor the brass over time. And of course there's no residue in this one. This is a clean version. So without any further ado, here's how the saber operates. It's a Crystal Focus version 6. So when you pull out the kill key, you get the boot sound through the speaker. And this is of course the recharge port, 2.1mm center positive recharge port. So now the saber is active, ready to go. You might be able to see, I'll show you a little bit later, there's a faint pulsing from inside the bone where the crystal is, but basic operation first. Blade goes in, blade retention screw is to keep the blade from flying out while you're dueling. This button is the activation button. It gives you the bright red blade with the Tri-Kree RRW, and the white is the flash on clash. So you've got your swing sounds and clashes. Of course, this is my revenge font, and that's how to operate this saber. To switch fonts, you would use the auxiliary button here. You hold it in. Now you're into the boot menu. You can see the LEDs are changing as I toggle through the different sound fonts. I can select. Corband's an excellent one for this saber. So then you hold it down to select that, and now it's booted up in the Corband sound font. And as you can see, there's animations from the bar graph underneath that are illuminating section of the bone segment. And I've tweaked this saber to operate a little differently in that regard, which I'll show you in a moment. Of course, there's a slight 1-second delay on the button, so that if you tap it when it's on, it won't turn off the saber. You have to hold it down for about 1.5 seconds. Now with these sabers, I'm certifying them for medium dueling. And they are durable enough for pretty hard dueling, but the reason I'm certifying them for medium dueling, there's 2 reasons. One is, the main one, is these claws are still, even though they're finished and not entirely sharp, they are still sharp enough that with force will cut skin or clothing, and I don't want anyone to get hurt. So that's the main reason. The secondary reason is if the claws take a bunch of beats in a duel, they may become loose. They're held on with 440 screws that can be tightened, but they will not take as much of a beating as the rest of the saber will. So that's why I'm certifying it for medium dueling for warranty purposes. I'm also saying for warranty purposes, I do not permit the new owners to take apart any of the saber parts, to slide them out, with the exception of what I will show you right now. Excuse me. To remove the bone, or to slide the bone segment back to get access to the SD card, there's 2 screws. One is a slotted screw in the back there. Now you want to be careful to do this over a flat surface, because these screws are actually hard to find because they're not flat slotted screws. There's actually a contour to the top of them so that they don't protrude into your grip. So that's a 632 screw, just for interest purposes. If you don't want to use that screw and you want quicker access without a slotted screwdriver, you can use just a computer case thumb screw, which is 632 thread, and that can become a quick access thumb screw if you want to do that way and be able to duel with your saber, but also be able to take it apart to show the bone quickly. Of course, this is a 632 thumb screw as well. And that gets removed, brass. And then once those screws are removed, you can slide back the bone fairly firmly, and then you get access to the crystal that's pulsing in idle mode, and the bar graph, which this is new for this run. I've set it up because the LEDs are so intense in the bar graph when the Saber's in operation. And you can, of course, hold down the auxiliary button to get a lockup, and that gives you the power level meter. 6 bars is full. But the LEDs in the bar graph are so bright that I didn't want them to overpower the crystal. So when the Saber is booted up, it goes straight into crystal only pulsing mode, so that you can see the crystal illuminated and pulsing, and there's a slight glow through the bone. As I'll show you with this one, it's on. It's pulsing. It's in standby mode, so you can see a flicker. When the Saber moves, it goes into crystal pulsing mode, and you can see just a very faint pulsing through the bone there. So that's how I've set each of these Bane Sabers up on every font. Of course, the bar graph animations are different, and the blinking LED is different for each font. If I want to change it to a different font, go to calibrate. That's my my crystal display font. Now, when you activate calibrate, there's no LED light coming out. It's just the light from the crystal and the bar graph. And of course, you've got all the different features and sounds of the calibrate sound font, as if you're working on your crystal and assembly of your Saber. So that's the internal workings of this Saber. If I wanted to change the SD card to make changes to the sound fonts or the settings, I would insert the kill key. So now there's no power to the Saber. And I would use the magic implement, which is a pencil. I'm going to find one here. I can't find my pencil. This one doesn't have a very good eraser, and that's the kind of part you need, is a good eraser, but we'll try this anyways. And you just gently reach in there and you hear a click. I pressed the SD card and released it, and you hear a click. And now you can see the SD card is, you might be able to see, is protruding a little bit from the Crystal Focus sound card in there. So I want to very gently, with a pair of tweezers or needle nose pliers, very gently, no residue, I want to reach in, I want to pull out that SD card. I can make changes to that. I can put it in the adapter into my computer, change the sound fonts or the settings of the LED or the sensitivity of the swings and all those different things you can change with the Crystal Focus card. And then when I'm ready, I insert it again, hear the click. I want to test it to make sure that it's in there properly and it's loaded properly. I get a boot sound. If you don't get a boot sound, you get some beeps, and there's something that's wrong with the way the card is loaded or formatted or whatever. So that is how the Saber operates. I hope you're enjoying. This is the highest tech Bane Saber to date, with flash on clash and a very bright red even blade, and the crystal and the bar graph, and I'm really happy with how the bone turned out in this one as well. Overall, this is really my signature Saber. So to the owners, the new owners, I hope you enjoy it, and thanks for watching.